Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Doña the Light, and I'm here to shed some light on mental and emotional health topics. Today's video is really just a little bit of a blog and life update, but I would still really appreciate if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, give this video a thumbs up like, and leave a comment if you have any thoughts or anything that you would like to share. So we are in July of 2026, and I was fired from my teaching job. As a teacher here in the state of California, you are probationary for the first 2 years of you teaching. So essentially, what that means is you could be let go for any reason. I found out that my teaching contract wasn't going to be renewed in March. It was right at the end of February, actually. It was Black History Month, y'all. Sheesh. February 28th is when I found out that I would not be continuing in the teaching position I was currently in, and I finished the school year with my students. Initially receiving that news, I went through all of the feelings. I felt so overwhelmed with trying to think about what I was going to be if I wasn't going to be a teacher. And this is my third year teaching, but everything that I've done in my life, I've taught in some way, shape, or form. Whether it be my first job at McDonald's, where I was doing my best to train all the new people because I genuinely believed that I could train them the best, um, to just having conversations with people. There's always I'm always teaching in some way, shape, or form. Literally being a yoga teacher, I'm always teaching. So I was overwhelmed with just not even knowing what I was supposed to do next or what the next path was going to be for me. My struggle initially was not my initial struggle. As I began to get over the initial overwhelm of, oh my gosh, what am I if I'm not a teacher? That identity crisis type situation. I started to think about why I wanted to continue being a teacher and what was difficult for me about being a teacher. I love teaching, period. But what was difficult for me as a teacher was the expectation to do all of these different teacher things outside of my normal work hours. When I worked at Enterprise Rent a Car, I would absolutely work 10, sometimes 11-hour days. But when I left work, I left work. That was it. I could leave it in the building. I didn't think about it when I was at home. Sure, I might text somebody or someone might text me on an off day about a vehicle or something simple, but I really didn't have to carry any of that home with me. Whereas being a teacher, I'm grading papers, I'm doing lesson plans, I'm doing all these things, on the weekend, and I have children. So trying to manage all of those things was very overwhelming to me, in addition to never quite feeling like I was prepared enough in the classroom, always feeling like I needed a little something extra. I really, really, really leaned into my classroom management this year and being as consistent as possible and building relationships with my students. That's another thing that made the news especially difficult was my first year of teaching at this specific school site. I had a really difficult time. And over the summer between my first year and second year, I got really serious about what are the things that I can control that will help support myself and my students in my classroom. And one of those things was being consistent, setting clear expectations, telling my students exactly what I need from them, telling them what they can expect from me, and then actually doing those things. And I did a damn good job. I really, really did. So then hearing the news that I wasn't going to continue, not just at this site, but at the entire school district, because those are their rules. If you're non-reelected at one school site, you cannot work for the entire school district. So which wasn't too much of a problem because there's other school districts in my area. But anyways, yeah, I did a really, really good job this school year. I was really proud of myself. So again, I'm reflecting on, what are the things about teaching that are really difficult for me, you know. So one of the things that I was very easily able to pinpoint is I teaching doesn't stay in its place. You know what I mean? Like you can, and I would get to school early every single day. Every single day, I would be at school at least an hour before my prep time was supposed to begin. So it wasn't for a lack of time. There's just so much that is on your plate and so many things that you need to do. And as a brand new teacher, woo. So I wanted to, I'm thinking about as I move forward, if I'm going to continue teaching, if I'm not, what are some of the things that I need in another position. And one of the things again was that I need a position that stays in its place. I need a position that when I leave and that's it. So I'm thinking about, getting into business because I have my master's in teaching, or maybe it's education. It's one of those. And a multiple subject teaching credential. I have a master's in business administration and I have a bachelor's in kinesiology. So I'm thinking, all right, maybe I need to lean into one of my other degrees. I love teaching, period. So it really doesn't matter where I'd be teaching. Maybe I could teach business. Maybe I could, transition into more of like a physical therapy or personal training or something like that. I'm thinking about all of these things. And then I came across this video of this woman, and she says, Delulu is the Salulu. And I said, okay. So I'm watching this video, and she said, I want you to open up your calendar and I want you to set a date with yourself. Basically, plan, a dinner date or some sort of celebration for yourself 6 months from now. And you're going to celebrate everything working out exactly as it was supposed to. And I watched that video a few times before I actually opened up my calendar and did it. And she said, all I want you to do for the next 24 hours, and I'm absolutely paraphrasing, is to behave as if everything is going to work out exactly how it's supposed to. And there was something about setting that date 6 months in the future and also telling myself that everything was going to work out. Everything is going to work out exactly how it's supposed to. That was very comforting. And it was like the ability to release and relinquish control. I remember telling my best friend that I knew that this time around, as I'm looking for a job, I needed to network with people. So I'm reaching out to, people that I know, people that I've worked with, yada, yada. And I am a great employee. I'm a great person to work with. I'm coachable. I love to learn. I love to improve. So I'm proud of myself for that, because when I reached out to people that I've worked with before, it was easy I didn't feel like, oh, I don't know if I can reach out to this person because of our work relationship, or, because I didn't do so great of a job, in that position or anything like that. I haven't had any worries like that. So, yeah, I reached out to some people that I've known before, and I'm still doing the things that I need to do. I'm still applying for jobs. I'm still having conversations with people, but I don't have this big looming, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Because I know, and I've told myself multiple times, everything is going to work out exactly how it's supposed to. There are still things that I know I need to do. Again, job applications, reach out to people, but there's not this, oh my gosh, what if? I was very comfortable in the fact that everything was going to work out exactly how it was supposed to. What path that might look like, who knows? That part wasn't really my concern. And I think that's another aspect that I was able to take some comfort in. I wasn't super concerned about which path I would go on. Would I end up teaching at a college? I don't know. Would I end up working at this physical therapy clinic that I started going to get some support for my shoulder? I don't know. But I knew for a fact that everything was going to work out exactly how it was supposed to. And I'm really glad that I came across that video when I did, because if someone were to have told me right after I received the news, and a lot of people did tell me, don't worry about it, It's okay. And just immediately we're offering solutions. But after I received that news, I needed time to process how I was feeling because I was sad. I was disappointed. I was feeling all of the things. And a lot of times we don't give ourselves the time and space to feel those things because we're so hyper focused on what the solution is going to be. And it makes sense. I'm a Capricorn. I have so much dirt in my in my birth chart. Like there's so many earth signs. I'm grounded. I love plants. I love soil. Like there's plants in here, there's plants in my room. Um I'm very much so that person. So I forgot why I said that. Oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. Um oh, the logic. Yes. So I know that logically, after getting the news that I'm not going to be continuing in this position, I need to begin looking for positions. I'm completely aware, but two things can be true at the same time, right? First things first, I'm still teaching. March, April, and May, I still had to teach full time. And I did not tell my students. My students didn't find out until the last week of school, and they didn't even find out from me. Our last week of school ended up being 3 days because the Monday was a holiday, and then our last day of school was a Thursday. So we had school Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The week prior to that, I had taken off. That was the most time that I'd taken off in any school year that I've taught so far. And I was taking my kids, I was taking myself to doctor's appointments. I was taking my sons to doctor's appointments and dentists and stuff like that because I didn't know when my insurance was going to run out. So I figured, let me do this before the end of May because our last day of school was, I think, the 28th, which was a Thursday. And then 29th, we came in and like did our classrooms or whatever. Um, so yeah, I'm completely aware. Logically, the next step is to look and obtain a new position. But that's easier said than done. And again, I still needed to give myself time to feel my feelings. I made the mistake of telling a few people, it wasn't a mistake. I shared with a few people that I had gotten the news that I wasn't going to be continuing, and their immediate response was, "It's okay. Here's some other jobs you can apply to," which again was helpful, but not in that moment. Like I just really needed someone to acknowledge that sucks. You know what I mean? Like that must be really hard. I really just wanted that's what I needed. And I was able to give that to myself gratefully because it can be hard for us as humans, especially those of us that are alive today, to connect with people emotionally. A lot of times because we stifle our own emotions so much that we don't want to be around when people cry. We don't want to experience someone else's sadness. It's uncomfortable. So we don't want to do it. So we just avoid it by offering solutions or saying, "Oh, it's okay. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to work out." And then, giving a bunch of positive words. "You're such a great teacher. You won't have any problem finding a new job." And it's not that those things aren't true. It's just that those sentiments are kind of misplaced at the time. So I'm very glad that I was able to give myself the comfort of, this is hard. This is hard. This sucks. Um, and I'm just going to kind of sit in that for a bit. And I was very sad. It was hard. It was very hard to be at school and to think about like not seeing my students the next school year because I won't be there. So the primary purpose of this video, in addition to just being a little bit of a blog and just kind of sharing what's going on in my life right now, is just how much it helped me to accept that everything is going to work out exactly how it's supposed to. And I really appreciate that phrasing because it doesn't really create any expectation of what that's going to look like. However things are supposed to work out, that's how they're going to work out. And it's just a reminder to stop fighting it, not to stop doing the things that you need to do. Like I said, I'm still applying for jobs and things like that. That didn't stop. But that looming kind of scary, "oh my gosh, I have no idea what's going to happen," turned into, "I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that it's going to work out exactly how it's supposed to. So I can just continue to move forward the way that I need to. I'm extremely grateful that my finances were in order, for the next couple months. That was a huge weight off my shoulders. And that I knew, 2 months after I found out, I think. I'd reached out to payroll, HR, whatever, and asked them some questions about that. But yeah, everything's going to work out exactly how it's supposed to. If you're interested in that video, let me know. I will dig it out. I sent it to a couple people, so I'm pretty sure I can find the link to it. I think it was on Facebook, but I'm sure it's probably on a couple different platforms. So yeah, if you take anything from this video, remember that everything's going to work out exactly how it's supposed to. You might not know exactly what that means, and that's okay. But just take a deep breath. Continue doing what you need to do. And if you don't know what you need to do, take care of yourself. Go for a walk. Drink some water. Move your body. Create some art. You can always do those things. If you have no idea what to do with yourself, pick one of those and just start there. Lean into loving on yourself, and the rest will absolutely follow. Once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe. It's a great free way to support my channel. Give this video a thumbs up, like, and I'll see you next time. Bye.